Hi gang, Dr. Warren here, EDU609, and we are in our last 2 weeks of the online educator specialization where you build your online courses, and this will be our last class together. I want to go into week 5 and 6. This is where you are thinking back from when you came into this program at the very beginning, where you were just coming up with some idea for a class. And now here you are, that class is finished, complete, and you have a shining star to show off to all your peers and hopefully potential employers, and maybe to even teach. Hopefully you get to teach this class, and I will certainly help you get your course online and ready for students. So don't lose my number. Okay. So basically, you are this week, you are going to do 2 important things. The first is creating a multimedia course tour. And I talked about that in the previous announcement for week 4, just kind of gave you guys an idea of what you're getting ready to do. And so I've got in the week 4 announcement, be sure to look at the course tour of the Introduction to Fragile X Syndrome and Creating Your Powerful Life course tours. These are amazing, over-the-top course tours. Don't try to set your standards to that degree if you feel like it's not in you. Just do your best, but these give you an idea of what we mean by a course tour. And really, it's kind of a welcome to the class, here's what the class is about, and just touching the highlights of the course. Do not go through every single element of your course, just the highlights. Also, you want to introduce yourself. I'm such and such, and here's why I'm qualified to teach the course, okay? So if you don't feel like you're qualified to teach the course, make something up, okay? Sound like you know what you're talking about, and then talk about just the fun stuff in your course. Here, you're going to learn how to, and by the time you finish this course, you're going to be able to, right? Okay? All right. So this is with Screencast-O-Matic. Let's go back there. You're getting a Screencast-O-Matic, and I believe that you have some experience with that from a previous class, and it's pretty easy, and I love Screencast-O-Matic. So I think I have a tutorial on using Screencast-O-Matic, and I'll send that out to you. It's a really great tutorial. And the thing about Screencast-O-Matic is you can also edit it. If you pay the $20 for the year, $20 for the whole year, you have access to the editing tools in Screencast-O-Matic. So that's in that tutorial as well. I'll send that out to you. Now, I want to talk about the other, more important to me, element, and we're giving you 2 weeks to design it. In week 6, you're going to do this huge presentation. Again, you're going to do a Screencast-O-Matic. You're going to narrate this presentation. If you want to use PowerPoint and then speak to the PowerPoint slides, that's fine. But you're going to have to get screenshots of your class in order to provide evidence of what you've learned. Another way to do it is just like what I'm doing here, just showing you my screen and talking to my screen. You don't have to use PowerPoint. You can simply talk to the screen for this final presentation. It's up to you, okay? What you're going to be doing in this final presentation is you are going to talk about the theories that got you from there to here. Those theories are the things that helped you build your online class, starting with, remember Bloom's taxonomy? Remember when you designed your online your learning objectives. So remember how I insisted that you use the higher levels of Bloom's, create, evaluate, analyze. I didn't want you to just do understand or know, right? So you use the higher 3 levels of Bloom's to create your learning objectives. You wanted to build a rich, robust course, okay? So hold on. So let me just back up for 1 second. You're choosing 5 theories, okay? Out of all these theories, pick 5 and speak to them and how they helped you build your course. If you don't want to use Bloom's, go to the next one. Remember backward design? And remember how we started with the end in mind by designing that final assignment, that final assessment that had all learning outcomes. So if your students could complete that final assignment in your course, that meant that they achieved all those learning outcomes that you set out for them at the beginning. And the nice thing about having that final assessment, you could then design lessons that would get them ready for that final assessment and know that you were getting your students ready to achieve those final learning outcomes, okay? So backward design, start with the end in mind, okay? Authentic assessment, remember that? Real, authentic means real world assessments. The things that the assignments that you're giving them, the activities are grounded in the real world. They're meaningful because they're real world. They're not a quiz. They're not I don't know what, something that just, a paper. They're actually real world activities, okay? The rubric, remember the rubric you did to map to your final assignment, your final summative assessment? Rubrics help provide transparency and clarity for the faculty and for the students. Universal design for learning, making the assignments accessible for all students, including people with disabilities, people with learning ability disabilities, etc. Community of inquiry model. Now remember, we have the teaching presence, social presence, and cognitive presence. Because this model is so rich and so deep, you are welcome to select one or all of these as separate theories. So if you want to talk about the theory of teaching presence, use that as your theory. Talk about it, go deeply into it. Social presence, that's a second theory if you want to do that as well. Cognitive presence is the one, remember, the cognitive presence was the one where you built your online lessons. You built your modules using cognitive presence. You had a triggering of it. You had that exploration, which was the lesson, the learning, the absorbing. The integration was the activity, the assignment. The resolution was the reflection. And you have all four of those are in each of your modules, theoretically, or at least in your entire class. You've got all four of those in your classroom, okay? The ADDIE model we just learned about in this class, and you're welcome to talk about the ADDIE model if you want to. And I think, yeah, so that's it. So if you choose, again, the community inquiry model, you can choose one or all of these. If you choose all three, that knocks out 3 theories, and you only have to select 2 more from the list. Pardon me. So, okay, so that's that on the theories. And so in week 5, what I want, oh, I know what I'm going to say about those. Okay, so what about those theories, right? What are you going to say about them? Okay, what I want to know is how it helped you design your course. How did those theories help you design your course, okay? These are what you're going to answer. Then, how did they serve when you went to have a learner inside? When you think about teaching your course, how do those theories help you when you go to teach your course? For example, the social presence, the cognitive presence, those are pretty obvious. When you get something like Bloom's taxonomy, when you're teaching your course, you use the Bloom's to make it, to provide an element of, you know, if they're creating, then you know that they're going to be creating, right? The Bloom's verb. If they're applying something, if they're designing something, if they're developing something, then that is how you ended up developing, and that's what it's going to be when you teach your course. You're going to be teaching, the Bloom's dictate what you teach, basically, right? Backwards design dictates what you teach and how you teach it and why you teach it. So think about the teaching. Facilitation is another word for teaching, and I'm just going to change that, teach, how you teach your course, okay? All right, assess how the theory helped you create alignments between the goals and the outcomes. That's so easy. Again, how did your assignments connect to the learning outcomes? Well, it's because you used backward design, because you used Bloom's taxonomy, right? It's because you used rubrics. The rubrics were connected to your learning outcomes, remember? And all of that helped connect all the assignments and lessons and everything to your learning outcomes, okay? All right, and then how it helped you in your evaluation and impacted your revision process, okay? So these are the questions I want to see answered for all 5 of your theories. Every theory is going to answer these 4 questions. Okay, so I hope that's clear. This is a big project. That's why you get 2 weeks to work on it in the week 5 this week. I want to see your outline. I want it, you can storyboard it in PowerPoint if you want to. I want to see what you're going to say about each of those theories, okay? And then in week 6, you're going to present it using Screencast-O-Matic. So however you choose to script it, you want to script it, think about it, practice it, and then present it in week 6, okay? So that should do the trick here for week 5 and get you set up for week 6. And you guys have a great week, and you know where to find me. Bye.